It's happened. Valorant just got what might be its most controversial update yet. Riot has now made it easier to identify when smokes are about to fade. A change as simple as this has absolutely split the community, with half embracing the added accessibility and others believing that this is just another step towards making Valorant too easy. This past Friday, we saw some proposed changes to Valorant smokes leaked on Twitter. And as of today's 7.8 patch, Astra, Brim, and Omen smokes now play a visual and audio cue 1.5 seconds before they disappear. This seemingly harmless change thrust the community into a small civil war, with many complaining that this was oversimplifying a major gameplay mechanic. Our very own Niall even made the joke that Riot is just one step closer to playing the game for us. However, with all the negative feedback I saw, there was also plenty of those defending the choice, arguing that it wouldn't impact high levels of play and only help newer players. Now, although I do have my own opinions on the matter, I had no clue people were this passionate about smokes in Valorant. Even here at home, Liz and Niall have had their own heated disagreements, so I wanted to hear them make their cases.
As an Astra main, I think the change is fine. Viper Wall has a signal as to when it's running out, Harbor's Orb too. I don't think that has catastrophically impacted the game. Yes, maybe it does make things easier, but for casual, low elo folks, this helps them focus on more macro ideas. Does this really dramatically affect how you take fights, your agent comp, your positioning, your timing, your map awareness, your other ability usage, among many other things? I argue that it doesn't.
All right, I get what Liz is saying, but I don't like the change. It's weird for Riot to suddenly lower the skill floor 3.5 years after Valorant's release. When it first came out, I was looking for ways to improve, and although my mechanics may have lagged behind, I could make up for it with some decent game sense. I think having an internal clock and knowing things like smoke timings and cooldowns is important in a lot of games. Anyone who wants to improve at a game will put in time to learn these things. Smoke timings are just basic game knowledge, and I agree with Boostio that knowing them should just be common practice. And considering most flash durations are under 2 seconds, I think 1.5 seconds might feel longer than you think.
Alright, so as you can see, this was far from a simple update, but I suspect that all of this uproar has less to do with the change to smokes themselves and more to do with the idea of increased accessibility. I do see both sides of the issue. On one hand, does Valorant really need more audio and visual clutter? I mean, it's not that distracting from what we've seen, but as we know, this shit can add up. But on the other hand, even though Counter-Strike smokes don't have a sound cue, they do fade, and that fading has always played a role in how timings work. It's also something I just don't really think about. Playing around smoke fades is second nature to most Counter-Strike players, and honestly, I won't be surprised if we say the same thing about Valorant's new smokes in just a short while. That being said, I can't help but ask myself, who wanted this? I've never been playing Valorant and thought to myself, damn, I wish I knew when this smoke was gonna end. So I'm very curious if Riot has evidence that this makes Valorant a better experience for newer players. Now, I will say that just a few days before the leak, a clip went viral that perfectly showcased just how complicated Valorant can be at times.
Let me ult though. No, I'm still gonna ult.
Oh my god, Thanos is here.
Excuse me?
Help!
Bro, I haven't been able to hear.
55 fed. Bro, what is going on?
A war! I fought the Battle of Thermopylae just now!
I wonder if Riot believes that these changes to the smokes will help mitigate some of the noise that people have to deal with in any given round. Was adding more visual and audio elements to the game the answer? Personally, I don't think so, but only time will tell what the effect is. Regardless, I think the bigger question is if Riot is going to change anything else. Is this just the start of a series of updates aimed at making the game easier? There are already a lot of small details that make Valorant a more user-friendly experience. There are also details that make it an undoubtedly more simplified game, at least strategically speaking. Like the fact that you can see the enemy team's economy, or who has their ult and when they use them. Valorant could take things a step further by adding the timers for enemy abilities, a bomb clock, who knows what else. I mean, we have already seen changes like this in their other games, including the conversations that followed. Back when they added jungle timers to League, people freaked out that they made the game too easy. Everyone has pretty much gotten used to it by now, but it still doesn't change the fact that this aspect of the game has been forever altered. Now, in the case of Valorant, whether it's too minuscule to even notice is a completely other conversation, but you can't deny that these changes to the smokes will simplify the game even just a tiny bit. Riot is always pushing to make their games as popular as possible, and sometimes simplifying things is the most effective way to do that. But in the process of making the game more friendly to newcomers, do you actually sacrifice the skill ceiling? Part of me is still split. I honestly don't think this is going to affect the way I play the game whatsoever, but I still find myself agreeing with Nile and Boostio. Maybe knowing smoke timings is just the bare minimum. At the pro level, sure, we probably won't notice a difference just by watching, but behind the scenes, do these added accessibility features reduce the complexity of the game, at least strategically? How much of the game truly just comes down to gunfights and abilities? Let me know if you have any strong opinions about this change. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think that Valorant is truly becoming too easy, or do you think that people are just over-exaggerating as per usual? I think the audio is silly. I think the audio, like, I understand because it's like if you're not looking at the smoke, then you can hear and you're like, okay, the smoke's done. But like, it just seems like there's so much going on in the game, audio and visual wise, that like adding more, it just seems like you're shooting yourself in the foot a bit.